21 years ago, I penned an essay that I entitled Strange Luck. And it was a reference to Bill Clinton, the Clinton Nostra, the Clinton crime family, Clinton administration, and how everything just seemed to go his way. Everything. Random events always seemed to work in Bill Clinton's favor. Now, Strange Luck was a Fox TV series at the time, so that's what I was riffing off of. Well, that Fox TV series was canceled a long, long time ago. But the Clinton crime family's strange luck continues to this day. Indeed, they may be America's luckiest political dynasty. At every turn, good fortune has found its way to Bill and Hillary Clinton. As Charles Cook wrote yesterday at nationalreview.com. Ability, Napoleon Bonaparte is said to have proposed, is of little account without opportunity. In our modern vernacular, this idea would be put a trifle differently. You can be good, we might posit, but you also need to be lucky. Or another version of that is, it's better to be lucky than good. Has there ever been a family to which this maxim could be more appropriately attached than the Clintons? Perhaps the most talented national politician of his generation, Bill Clinton was nevertheless a routine beneficiary of improbable good fortune, as I alluded to earlier. During the 1992 election season, Clinton managed to walk calmly across no man's land without catching so much as a scratch. During the primary, his late-stage rival Jerry Brown gaffed his way out of a mathematically unassailable polling advantage and permitted the lesser-known Clinton to sneak to victory against all the odds. During the general election, a deteriorating economy, which actually it wasn't deteriorating, it was recovering, but that's not how the media covered it. Remember, worst economy in the last 50 years, which was bullshit. It was the U.S. economy grew at an annualized rate of 4.1% in the fourth quarter of 1992. It was, and as soon the morning after Bill Clinton's election victory, you heard the term the Clinton recovery. And I mean, media bias right there, like it's always been. It's just gotten more shameless, is all. Oh yes. During the general election, a recovering economy, which was covered as if it was deteriorating, a spate of Republican infighting and the vagarious behavior of a popular third-party candidate, Ross Perot, helped Clinton overcome his manifold character deficiencies and pull off a historic upset against an overqualified opponent who just a year earlier had commanded a public approval rating of 89%. As he racked up his successes, the press came to see Clinton as the comeback kid. In truth, fortunate kid would have been more on the mark. In office, Clinton's fairy godmother continued to visit him as a matter of course. Through no great skill of his own, Clinton took the reins at the precise moment in which the Bush economy, the Bush recovery, was kicking into high gear, when the hitherto silent tech boom sprung happily into public view, and at which the international order, which for decades had been polluted by a grinding Cold War, settled down enough to accommodate the promise of a peace dividend. And remember the term holiday from history? There you go. An old saw holds that Barry Goldwater won the 1964 election, but took office in 1981 under a different name. An updated version might contend that the supply-side reforms and deregulatory efforts that began under Jimmy Carter and accelerated under Presidents Reagan and Bush found their most obvious expression while Bill Clinton sat in the White House, having done nothing to bring them about, much to dismantle them, but benefited from them all. For declining to interfere too heavily for not being able to interfere too heavily in the 90s boom. Clinton tried, remember Hillary Care? He tried to interfere. It's just he wasn't able to. thanks to the Republican Congress, which was really responsible for the 90s boom, not Bill Clinton, but that's not the way that politics works when a Democrat's in office anyway. But they do not necessarily deserve the plaudits of authorship. For all the factors that contributed to Bill Clinton's perceived success, being in the right place at the right time was perhaps the most crucial. If 1992 served as a comedy of serendipities for the Clintons, 1996 and 98 hinted at Providence itself. In 1996, the Republican Party nominated Bob Dole, poor old Bob Dole, as its presidential candidate, and then proceeded to split down the middle, having done so. In 1998, a year that should have been infamous for Clinton, impeachment, the GOP disastrously overplayed it. No, not really. They ran away from impeachment. That's why they lost. And thereby managed to turn a story about Clinton's arrogance, mendacity, and adulterousness into a distressing tale of tone deafness and overreach. As ever, Clinton was lucky in his foes and fortunate to have inherited a prosperous backdrop against which the notion of impeachment held limited luster. How could a commander-in-chief survive a sex scandal and a perjury charge? 4% growth, that's how. But now we come to the pertinent portion of the Cook essay. Ceteris paribus, Bill Clinton's wife seems set to profit from events in a similar fashion. As we learned 8 years ago, Hillary Clinton possesses few of her husband's political facilities, and when obliged to square off against a superior opponent is liable to crumble and fall. And yet, in 2016, fate has conspired to ensure that no such superior opponent will intrude upon her ambitions. Under Obama's self-centered leadership, the Democrat Party has been decimated at all but the presidential level, one key result of which has been the destruction of its talent pool. How, one wonders, would Hillary have fared this time around had she been required to vanquish a more popular and more appealing cast of characters than James Webb, Martin O'Malley, Lincoln Chafee, and Bernie Sanders? Yeah, that reminds me of that scene in Captain America Civil War at the floating ocean prison where Tony Stark is walking around seeing the members of Cap's team that were captured at the Leipzig airport battle. And he walks by Scott Lang, a.k.a. Ant-Man, and Lang says, Hank Pym always said you could never trust a Stark. And Stark looked back at him and said, who are you again? That's what this reminds me of. James Webb, Martin O'Malley, Lincoln Chafee, Bernie Sanders. Who? Precisely. Why didn't Julian Castro get in the race? Whatever happened to Julian Castro? Julian Castro has been that's been the boogeyman, the next Obama, the Hispanic Obama. Whatever happened to him? He's not even Hillary's running mate. Maybe the thinking was, well, Hillary can't win. Well, then Donald Trump came along, and I guess by that time it was considered too late or something. I don't understand that one. I mean, how would this election look now if the Republican Party had opted to take a course other than ignominious self-immolation? That Mrs. Clinton remains the favorite in November is, when one stops to reflect for a moment, nothing short of miraculous. Damaged by scandal, suspected of methodical dishonesty, loathed by much of the country, and charged with seeking the third term of a divisive president whose performance has been mediocre at best, Hillary Clinton remains viable only because the opposing party has accorded her the opportunity to utter a magical, life-restoring phrase. I am not Donald Trump. A recent troll poll conducted by the entertainment firm Triple P, public policy polling, revealed that nearly 15% of Democrats believe that Hillary Clinton may have ties to the devil. To run such a notion past the sharp blades of Occam's razor is to dismiss such an idea as a fantasy. Unlike Robert Johnson, Clinton is too dull to be involved with Lucifer. But at the edges of one's mind, one has to review the past 25 years and to wonder, what is it about the Clintons that invite such perpetual good luck? Are the rest of us missing a trick somewhere? Oh, and thanks a lot, Trumplicans.